Hello viewers, November 14, 1995, Beijing, China. Since that month is a very cold month in China, it was extremely cold that night. In the bus terminal of the city Yuanminghuan, the bus named as 375 was ready to complete its last trip to Xiangshan, or so-called Fragrant Hills. When the bus number 375 leaves from the bus terminal, the bus was fully filled with passengers. But when the bus stops arrived one by one, everyone started to depart. Now there are only 7 more stops to go to the final city. In such a case, now there was no one in that bus. In that bus, a driver who was nearly 40 years old, and the bus conductor was a young lady. Bus number 375 was managed by the local state transport. In that city, that time, in China, to give tickets to the passengers, they kept bus conductors in every bus. Likewise, on that night, along with the driver and conductor, bus number 375, which was going alone in that route. What happened that night? It was a very thrilling and scary event. On that cold night, there was no one in that road. Only the driver and young lady conductor of bus number 375 was going. Now the bus stops at a stop. A total of 4 people boarded the bus there. Among them was an old lady of about 60 years, a young couple who were 20 and 25 years old, and a 20-year-old boy. So a total of 4 people were boarding in that bus stop. Now there were a total of 6 people in that bus, including the driver and the conductor. The old lady sat on a middle seat of the bus as soon as she boarded. The 20-year-old young man sat in front of her. Those young couples sat behind the driver's seat. Now, the bus numbers 375 were only 6 stops behind to reach its destination. As I already says, since this is the last part on that route, it was very late at night. Not only that, it was very cold outside and was continuously snowing. There were no vehicles like cars, trucks, and even human trafficking on the road. Only this bus was traveling alone on that road. Since there were less people on the bus, the entire bus was in dead silence. Not only that, since the area where the bus is going on is surrounded by a dense forest, only the sound of the bus engine was heard. When the bus was passing through the dense forest, suddenly the bus driver, "Why this is happening today? Normally there will be no passenger at this time, but today, why there are so many of them? Who are they? Why they are standing in the middle of the road instead of the bus stop?" He started to murmur in his mouth. When the young lady conductor saw him murmuring, she looked at the front of the road. There, 2 people were standing in the middle of the road and waving at the bus to stop. Actually, now it's the driver's choice whether to stop the bus or not, because they were standing in the bus stop but in middle of the road. But because of the cold weather outside and it is last bus at the road, suppose if they miss this bus, they don't know how long they will have to wait for the next bus. So the late-hearted lady conductor asked the driver to board them up, since it was the last bus. If we didn't board them up, there will be no other bus. So she pleaded him to stop the bus. First, the driver feared that they might be thieves and they could do something bad to them. Afterward, he stopped the bus near those 2 people who were standing in the thick forest. Because it was very dark there and there was no enough light inside and outside the bus, they couldn't see clearly what was outside the bus. So they couldn't talk to the persons who were standing outside. They were boarding through the back stairs of the bus. Only after they boarded, They came to know that it was 3 people that stood outside and not 2. And among those 3, 2 people were holding a person in between them. All 3 of them were wearing a very old and traditional dress of China, so they couldn't see their face very clearly. Even so, the faces of the 2 people looked very pale. As soon as they got to the bus, they sat on the last seat of the bus. Now in the bus, except the driver and conductor, the remaining 4 people started to get scared after seeing them. An uncomfortable and scary atmosphere were prevailing inside the bus. The young lady conductor who noticed this, for those 4 people, 60-year-old woman, 20-year-old man, and the young couples, what she said to them is, "Don't be afraid. There are many shooting films industries in this town, so they might have been returned after finishing the shooting, or they might have drunk too much. That's why for those 2 people are holding that man. Why? Because have you looked at their costumes? They didn't even have a time to taste that. The person in the middle seems to be drunk heavily. He didn't even have consciousness. I have seen many people like this as a bus conductor. I have many such experiences." So she asked everyone not to be scared. The passengers also know that there are many people in the city who are in film industry, so they thought that it was just like what she said. So everyone was relaxed and normalized except one, and it was that old lady. But the old lady is still nervous. She kept on looking at those 3 people who were sitting at the back. Since there is no one at the next bus stops, and since no one boarded the bus kept on going. Now the young couples who was sitting behind the driver got down when they reached their stops. The young couples didn't know that but as soon as they get off the bus, they felt relieved. They felt like they escaped from some big danger. The bus which dropped them, now the driver, lady conductor, the old lady, the young man sitting in front of them, and those 3 people who were sitting in the last seat of the bus, only they were on the bus now. When that bus was going, suddenly that old lady stood up and looked at the young man who was in front of her and started to shout like something crazy. She asked him whether he took her purse when he bought the bus. "My purse is missing. You should have taken it," and asked him to return her purse. The shocked young man, "How can I take your purse? Are you crazy? I'm sitting in front of you. How can I take it?" and said that he didn't take that. Seeing this, the lady conductor came and asked what happened. To that, the old lady said that he stole her purse. The lady conductor, who understood the situation, "Look here, definitely he didn't take it. He was sitting before you. How he can take your purse?" and said that she might have missed it somewhere. But that woman started fighting that he only stole it. To the driver, "Stop the bus at the next stop. I'm going to take him to the police station. After going there, we will know whether he took my purse or not," she said. Now the young man said, "I don't have any problem because I never took it. Even if we go there, the police will say that I'm innocent," he said. Now the bus stopped at the next stop. The door opens and both the old lady and the young man got down. The bus door closes and the bus started to leave. Now the old lady was looking at the bus continuously. Only after the bus disappeared from her sight, she felt relieved and took a deep breath. The young man who was standing was very angry after seeing this. "Hey, crazy old lady, why are you standing here?" and he asked but her to go to the police station. The old woman said that they are not going to the police. Then the young man asked whether she is really crazy. Now the young man asked her that this is the last bus for him and how can he go to his hometown. For that, the old lady said, "Don't you know? You should thank me. I saved your life." The young man was confused when he heard this. "What, you saved my life? What are you saying? I couldn't understand," said the young man. For that, the lady said, "Those three people who got on the bus in the middle of the way, they are not human beings." When the young man asked, "What are you saying?" "Yes, I have had my doubts since their arrival. I had a feeling that something was wrong, so I turned around and looked them continuously. That is when suddenly a breeze came into the bus, and their dresses were slightly lifted up. At that time, I saw them. They have no legs. First, I thought it must be my imagination or delusion, but again, when I watched it carefully, then only I came to know that it is not a human being, it is something else. It was definitely ghost only. I not only saved myself, but to save your life also. I said my purse was missing and you only took it, and we got off at the next stop by saying that we are going to the police station. So no one will suspect us, and most importantly, those three people. You look like my grandson, so I only saved you," said the old lady. And what did the young man immediately say was, "Then you could have told to the crew member of the bus. We could have saved them also," he said. For that, the old lady, I already told to that lady conductor. But when I said, she said that it was my illusion. And she also said me not to be scared. Now the young man asked her what they have to do now. The old lady said that they can go to the police station. So they went to the police station to tell everything that had happened. When they went to the police station, they told all the details of what had happened. But which police will believe the story they tell? So they didn't file a report. Instead, they said they will look after it and sent them their house. Both the lady and the young man went home. Now, the next day, on November 15, 1995 morning, the bus terminal officers in Jiangshan noticed that the bus number 375 didn't reach its destination. Not only that, bus number 375 was last seen when it was 4 stops before the destination. After that, the bus was not seen by anyone. Bus number 375 and the crew members were missing. They filed an official complaint in Jiangshan police station. They informed all the police station that the bus crossed. That's how, on the night of November 14, the information came to the police station where the old woman and the young man complained. Immediately, the police officer called both of them and recorded the statement of what happened that night. After that, this news started to spread all over Beijing. The old lady and the young man started to give interviews to the magazine. These were the headlines of the newspaper of that day. The rumors said that the bus number 375 was teleported. But the next day, 2 days after the incident, bus number 375 was founded. Where the bus was found is 100 kilometers away from the place where both the old lady and the young man got down, in the opposite direction where the bus has actually want to go. And that too, it was also found in a lake in a sunken situation. Also, there were 5 dead bodies in that bus. They immediately took out the bus from the lake. Now, there were doctors, police, and more people. All the 5 dead bodies were taken out from the bus. Seeing that, everyone who was standing there was very shocked. Why? Because among those 5 dead bodies, on the driver and the lady conductor, dead bodies were correct and normal. But the dead bodies of those 3 people were in a very rotten condition. That means, it was like left for several days in a single day. Okay, now let's decode about bus number 375. Actually, it was not a true story. It was an urban legend story. Urban legend story means like the stories of devil, demon and ghosts in our villages. Like that, each country has many stories that are suitable for that country and that town, and there will be many characters. And this bus number 375 story is one among them. In this itself, there are many versions of this story.